In 2022, the S&P 500 dropped 18%, but the ARK Innovation ETF dropped about 67%. If an investment falls 67%, it needs a 203% gain just to break even. Most investors never hear that, and it helps explain why so many returns look good on paper, but they disappoint in real life. The financial industry often explains performance using a simple average, or by pointing out big cumulative returns, but simple averages ignore volatility, compounding, and the actual path your money takes over time. And cumulative returns on their own can look very impressive, while telling you very little about whether the investment was actually a good one. In this video, I'm going to explain the difference between simple averages and the compounded annual growth rate. I'll also show how volatility creates a hidden drag on performance and explain how to honestly compare different types of investments. So let's start with a simple example. Let's say an investor buys an asset for $10,000 and it doubles in value over 6 years. That's a 100% gain. Some people might take that 100% and divide by 6, thinking the average yearly return was 16.67%. But that's not how investing works. In reality, if an investment grew at a steady rate of 12.3% per year, it would double in 6 years. So just dividing the total gain by the number of years overestimates the return by more than 4% in this example. And that's a huge difference. And that's only the beginning. Now let's add some volatility. Imagine an investment grows 30% in year 1, drops 15% in year 2, gains 30% in year 3, drops 20% in year 4, gains 30% in year 5, and gains 19% in year 6. If we calculate the average rate of return by just adding up these numbers and dividing by 6, we get an arithmetic average of 12.3%. That number looks familiar, right? But does that mean the investment doubled like our first example? Not even close. Starting with $10,000 and going through that sequence of gains and losses, you would actually end up with $17,778. That's over $2,200 short of doubling. What happened? This is called volatility drag. And it wouldn't matter in what order those yearly returns occurred. Volatility is just part of investing. Historically, market moves up or down by 15% or more in roughly half of all of the years. In fact, since 1980, that has happened in nearly 60% of all the years. The truth is, compounded annual growth rate for this investment is only 10.065%, not 12.3%. That's why so many advisors love to quote the average return. It always looks more impressive, but it's misleading and it doesn't show the real performance of your investment. So now you can see the problem. In our example of a $10,000 investment doubling in 6 years, an investor might think they earned 16.67% per year when the true rate of return was 12.3%. In the second example, a financial firm might tell you that the average return was 12.3% when the true compounded annual growth rate was 10.065%. Those are wildly different numbers. Let's see what that means over 20 years. At 16.67%, that $10,000 investment would grow to about $218,000. At 12.3%, it would grow to about $101,764. And at 10.065%, it would grow to about $68,000. Let me take a quick moment to say I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button, consider subscribing, and leave me some comments below. I'd sure appreciate it, so thank you. Okay, another term you hear a lot from investment articles, influencers, and financial firms is absolute return or total cumulative return. It sounds incredibly impressive, but it doesn't actually allow for meaningful comparisons. Here's an example. Let's say you invested $10,000 in 1990, and today that investment is worth $80,000, 36 years later. To find the absolute return, or the percent increase, you take the $70,000 worth of gain and divide it by your original $10,000, and then multiply by 100. Wow, that gives us 700%. That sounds amazing, right? But is it really? Compared to other investments over that same period, it's really not that impressive. The compounded annual growth rate, or CAGR, for that investment is only about 5.95%. By contrast, the S&P 500 had a compounded annual growth rate of 10.81% over that exact same period. If that $10,000 had been in the S&P 500, it would have grown into over $400,000. $400,000 sure beats the hell out of $80,000. So yes, 700% sounds huge, but without looking at the compounded annual growth rate, it's basically meaningless for comparison. To really compare investments, you have to consider the compounded annual growth rate. And remember, you can't just take the 700% and divide it by 36 years to get the rate of return. That would give you 19.44%, which is completely unrealistic. If the investment had really grown at that rate, that $10,000 would have turned into over $5.9 million over those 36 years. So let's review a few key points, and then I'll show you how to calculate the compounded annual growth rate. And we'll go over the SEC rules that investment firms are required to follow. The compounded annual growth rate, sometimes called the geometric mean, accounts for the time value of money and gives a much more honest picture of investment performance over a time period. It smooths out volatility by showing what the annual growth rate would have had to have been if the investment had grown at a steady rate over the entire period. What adds to the confusion is the compounded annual growth rate is also often referred to as the annualized return. In the professional world, annualized is the signal that the geometric math is being used to account for compounding, not a simple average. That can be confusing because average return and annualized return sound very similar, but they mean very different things. Now, let's look at how we can compare different types of investments. At the beginning of 1990, gold was priced at $401.65 an ounce. If somebody had invested $10,000 in gold at the time, they would have bought 24.9 ounces. 36 years later, at the very beginning of 2026, gold was around $4,300 an ounce, and that investment would have been worth $107,070. That sounds great. Now, let's say somebody else bought a prime empty lot in the suburbs for $5,000 back in 1990, and today that lot is worth $75,000. That also sounds good. But which investment actually had a better rate of return? The math makes it easy to compare. You take the ending value and divide it by the initial investment. Once you have that result, you take it to the power of 1 over n, where n is just the number of years. Then you subtract 1. For gold, the calculation looks like this: $107,070 divided by 10,000 raised to the power of 1 over 36, and then you subtract 1. That gives us a compounded annual growth rate of about 6.81%. For the lot, you take 75,000 divided by 5,000, raised to the power of 1 over 36, and then subtract 1. That comes out to a compounded annual growth rate of 7.81%. At first glance, a 1% difference doesn't seem like much, but in investing, it makes a big difference over time. Let's take a look at this example. A $10,000 investment growing at 6.81% for just 30 years would end up being about $72,000. That same $10,000 growing at 7.81% over those 30 years would grow into about $95,000. And just for a comparison, let's say someone had invested $10,000 in the S&P 500 instead. Over that same period, the S&P 500 had a compounded annual growth rate of 10.81%. At that rate, a $10,000 investment would grow into roughly $217,000. So while gold and land investments may have looked good at first, they didn't compare well to the S&P 500 over that 30-year period. So here's the reality. On one hand, you got the strict SEC world. Big firms are legally required to show you the standard annualized returns in their annual and semi-annual reports for mutual funds and ETFs. These documents are audited and filed as a legal record. When it comes to formal disclosures, the math is strict, and it has to be honest. But be aware that those same standardized rules don't apply in the same way to hedge funds or private equity. They're allowed to use different math, like internal rates of return, which can make results look much better than what a simple annualized return would show. Here's the real problem though. Most investors never read those reports. We look at our brokerage account balance, which probably has several different funds in it. But more importantly, we listen to the stories, what's said in one-on-one conversations, sales presentations, online promotional articles, and so-called educational materials. Instead of showing you what real clients actually earned after fees, taxes, bad timing, you're often shown a model portfolio. That's a mathematical ideal with a tiny disclaimer that no real investor actually experienced those results. Then there's the rolling average trick. You'll hear something like, our strategy averaged 12% over 5-year rolling periods. It sounds solid, but rolling averages are like a filter. They smooth over the bad years and hide the math gap created by volatility. None of this is necessarily illegal, but it creates a massive gap between the legal math in the reports and the emotional story being presented at times. And the real giveaway is always in the fine print. So here's the takeaway. The next time you see big, bold, average return, remember the volatility tax. A 50% loss followed by a 50% gain isn't a 0% return. It's a 25% hole in your pocket. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, and thank you for watching.